Manav, thank you so much for coming today. What a great session you've had. Plenty of questions after your session, so I'm glad I could take 5 minutes to sit down with you. Yeah, just wanted to speak a little bit about IBM's leadership in generative AI. So first question over to you is, how is IBM positioning itself as a leader in the generative AI landscape? And what are some of the key projects that you're currently working on?
I think, so first of all, thank you for having me here. And a great event, a great audience.
Appreciate it.
So with regards to IBM and our stance in generative AI, we are a firm believer that all enterprises must own their AI agenda, and that AI should be open, must be open for organizations, for enterprises, for individuals and societies to grow. So in that regard, we have been working on building our own platform. So we have this platform called watsonx. And the idea behind that is that it provides both a model garden as well as capability like a prompt lab that allows users to come in, either use IBM supplied models or third-party models or models that we license from third parties, as well as being able to fine-tune those models and then deploy those models either on a cloud of their choice or on premises. The other stance that other area where we think that we're really good at is around AI governance. So a not often talked about item is how do you ensure, especially for enterprises, the AI that you're using is free of the general ills that exist in AI. And then with regards to generative AI, ensuring that we're able to have the content that's free of hate, profanity, abuse, and biases. So we have our governance platform that does exactly that.
Nice, yeah, I'd love to jump into the governance aspect a little bit more, but in the interest of time, just wanted to touch upon the impact of generative AI. So in your view, Manav, how will generative AI transform industries, and what specific sectors do you see benefiting the most from these advancements?
Another great question. So regardless of which analyst you talk to, everybody talks about this being one of those pivotal technologies that adds, in some cases, as many as 3.5 basis points to global GDP. I mean, that's a huge number at that point. So I think at that point, this is a technology that's going to touch every industry and every human being, quite literally. So whether it's the banking and financial services industry, or the public sector, or telcos, or healthcare, I think the opportunities are tremendous. Wherever there is a large corpus of data and some policies or workflows that exist in any industry, I think this technology can benefit all of those and unlock humans to not spend the time on, let's call it, mundane tasks, but focus on more higher quality tasks.
Nice, it's a really interesting view, and it's typically what we're seeing at our events as well. Pretty much every sector, every industry vertical is being touched and affected. I just want to talk a little bit about challenges in the implementation side of things. So what are the primary challenges IBM faces in deploying Gen AI solutions, particularly concerning scalability and integration into existing systems?
Yeah, so another great question. So number one, I think there is a challenge around just client maturity. Because the technology is so new, most of the clients are still trying to experiment and learn so that they can understand both the opportunities as well as the challenges that this might present. The second problem that we often see is around being able to integrate, as you said, with existing data. So no technology exists in isolation, especially when it comes to an enterprise context. So like every other technology, they want to integrate this with their existing data sets. And in many cases, we find that while enterprises may have high quality data, but it's locked up in different silos. Finance may have their own data, procurement has another one, HR might have another one, and so on and so forth. It's getting access to that data in a timely manner becomes another challenge. And then lastly, I'll say just the resource availability, right? So, this is one of those technologies that requires specialized hardware to run, which is not easy to come by, right? It's expensive. Sure. There is a long lead time in terms of making it available. So those would be some of the challenges that we've seen in the industry so far.
Nice. And Manav, I haven't got you for too long, so I'm gonna jump a few questions. But sure. What's really interesting to me is like market trends. So next question for you: what trends do you foresee in the generative AI market over the next few years?
Right.
And how is IBM preparing to adapt to these changes?
Yeah. So I think number one, the models are going to get better and better. There is going to be lots more data that's going to be thrown at it. So I think we'll continue to see an evolution of maybe not necessarily the biggest models that there are. So there is an evolution that's happening from what used to be traditionally large language models to fit for purpose smaller language models. So I think that's where we will see the world going. Agentic AI, or AI that has agency and some autonomy, so that the AI then executes functions on our behalf of humans. I think we'll see tremendous growth around that in things such as, for example, AI agents will proliferate the enterprise, but for even higher value tasks like software engineering and testing, we'll see a lot of explosion around that. We will see multimodality. So even though there are some vendors that are out there that have multimodal models available, I think even for enterprises, we'll begin to see a lot of that happening. So it might be a simple matter of image in, text out. So take an image, classify that, understand what's in the image, and then make some decisions based on that and send those out to the enterprise. So those will be some of the areas that where the industry is going.
Amazing, Manav. And there's probably a lot of people that want to ask you some more questions, as they were just doing. So I'll just ask you one more thing. So you had a really stellar presentation. Everyone loved it, clearly. What are like the 3 key takeaways from your presentation today at the Generative AI Summit?
So number one, I would say we all have to become AI value creators and not just consumers. Whatever that means for every individual and their area of expertise, right? So long as we are not just consuming AI, that would be my first recommendation. 2, start with models that you can trust, that are open, right? We certainly have a point of view around IBM developed Granite models. There are other open source models that are available. So I would strongly encourage everybody to experiment. And then the third thing that I'll say is that don't make governance as an afterthought, right? So we specifically designed our watsonx platform to think of governance, privacy, and security as first-class citizens to the table. So that will be my 3 key takeaways.
Nice. Don't make governance an aftercall.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yep.
Manav, an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.